कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकि कोकिलम्। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताया पतये नमः। जयत्याश्रितसन्त्रास ध्वान्तविध्वंसनोदयः प्रभावान् सीतया देव्या परमव्योमभास्करः परमव्योमभास्करः।
श्रीमते निगमान्त महादेशिकाय नमः। In the Yuddha Kandam series of Srimad Ramayanam, we have seen how Rama sent the Rajahamsa carrying the message of Ashvasam from Rama's side in Karnataka in Bharatadesham to Seetā, who was housed in Lanka. At the same time, in Lanka Pradesham, we have seen how Ravana sought the counsel of his ministers who did not advise him to be on the path of dharma. Rather, they boosted his morale, telling that what he has done is right. To have Seetā in Lanka is the right thing to do. That is when Vibhishana stood up and started advising, rather suggesting to his brother that a person who has never won over anger, krodham, and lust, kamam, will never be able to win over Rama because Rama has won over kamam and krodham. He in turn said, you have to walk on the path of dharma, Ravana. If you wish that our children, our families, all our subjects stay happily, and if you wish to avoid a situation where the women of Lanka have to shed copious tears, give back Seetā to Rama. Well, that was said. Vibhishana also understood that Ravana was not listening to his words of advice positively. He was not taking good note of it. That is when Vibhishana thought, let me adopt a different way. Let me use a different technique. That is when he said, from the moment this Seetā has come, that Rama Patni Seetā has touched the land of Lanka, all inauspicious signs are seen. Can you hear the howling and the growling of the carnivorous animals at untimely moments? Ravana, all this signals something is going to happen bad for this Pradesham and for you. I wish good for Lanka. I wish good for Lanka's king Ravana, who is my eldest brother. Ravana, give back Seetā. While these words were told, Parusham Vakyam, while these words were told by Vibhishana to Ravana to somehow let Seetā be released, that is when I had cited a conversation, a dialogue that is said to have happened between the presiding deity of Srirangam, Ranganatha Swami, and Ranganayaki, his consort, who is believed to be the incarnation of Mahalakshmi or Seetā. It seems Mahalakshmi stopped pressing, massaging the feet, the lotus-like feet of Ranganatha. He asked why. Oh Lord, I have been noticing that you have been facing the south, showing your benign grace and showering your incessant grace on that Vibhishana. Yes, Mahalakshmi, he is our son. He is our son-like devotee, so I am showering my grace. But beware, she said, beware. Isn't he the one who ridiculed me? Isn't he the one who abused me to Ravana? That is when the Lord asked, what abuse did he hurl? She said, He told Ravana, his eldest brother, that from the moment I stepped in Lanka, all things which were inauspicious were happening. The Lord said, no. I don't think Vibhishana would have spoken such words. I am telling you from a trusted source that he is the one who has uttered those words, and you are denying it. Seetā, hey Ranganayaki, hey Mahalakshmi, he wouldn't have said such harsh words. I am saying he did say. Then the Lord got back and said, if what you have said that he has mentioned to Ravana is true, he must have said that for your good. This conversation that happened between the consort of the Lord in Srirangam called Ranganayaki and Ranganatha, this has been put together into a very, very captivating verse, Pasuram in chaste Tamil. The Tamil poet, 1600 years back in the deep south of India, gives this conversation. Tannadiyar Tirattagattu Tamarayal Agilum Sidaguraikkumel. Ennadiyar Adu Seyyar. My devotee wouldn't have done that. Seydare, if my devotee had said something like that, Nandru Seydar Enbar Pol, he would have done it only for the welfare of you and the world. Mannudaya Vibhidanarkal Madil Ilangai Tisai Nokki Malarkan Vaittu Ennudaya Thiruvarangat Kandriyum Mattoruvarkal Avare. So the mystic poet, the Alvar, says that this conversation happened in the context of Vibhishana. Now we may be wondering. Every instance in the Purana says that Mahalakshmi will always speak for the welfare of her devotees. While that is being said, it is the converse here, where Mahalakshmi is trying to find fault with the devotees, and the other way around is happening with the Lord. Generally, it is the Lord who has got one eye as that of the sun, Chandra, Surya, Nayana, Prameyava. That Lord is supporting the devotee and saying, no, my devotee would have done it right. Why have they swapped their roles? Because Mahalakshmi is not trying to find fault with the devotee, it seems. All these years, all these yugas, she has just been hammering the point to the Lord that devotees are right, devotees are good. Even if they commit small mistakes, you have to forgive them. Forgive, forget, bless them. This is what she has been telling. She wanted to check if all the suggestions and the advice that she had given all these years have gone into the Lord's head or not. That is why whenever you have to hang a beautiful portrait on the wall, you put a nail onto the wall. Before hanging the portrait, you will first shake and check. If it is shaking, you will give it another shot. If it is not shaking, it means your painting will stay fixed on the wall. She has been trying to hammer the point that devotees are to be blessed, they are good. She wanted to check if it has gone into the Lord's head or not. That is why she started shaking that. That is why she, for a change, said the devotee is wrong. When the Lord said, no, my devotee is always right, she was cool and convinced that the point that she wanted to convey to the Lord has been conveyed. This is called Sthunan Nikaranan Nyayam. So now, this conversation tells us that Vibhishana did try to use this technique to at least dissuade his brother from misbehaving with somebody else's wife. That said, Kumbhakarna stood up. See, generally we may have a very bad opinion of Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna did fight on Ravana's side against Rama, no doubt. But Kumbhakarna made a very valid point. He was a man of few words. When this council meeting was happening and the ministers were wrongly advising Ravana and Vibhishana stood up to give him the right set of advice, Kumbhakarna said one thing. Yada tu Ramasya sa Lakshmanasya prasahya Seetā khalu sa iha khrita sakrit samikshaiva sunischitam tada bhajeta chittam yamune vayamunam. That is when Kumbhakarna said, you are asking one question, Ravana, as to what I should be doing now. Tell me, give me suggestions, give me pointers. You are asking this question, right? You should have asked this question, what should I do now? This question before kidnapping Seetā. Before kidnapping Seetā, you should have called for a council meeting like this and said, I wish to kidnap Seetā, what should I do? That time we would have said, don't kidnap. So all the loss that you are facing because of some nameless Vanara coming and burning Lanka would have not happened. Now after all the damage has been done, Seetā has been kidnapped, a Vanara has come burnt Lanka. Now you are asking what should be done. Is this valid? So Kumbhakarna was a man of few words. But look at the sharp pointed question that he asked. That is when Vibhishana and Kumbhakarna, his own brothers, were trying to bring him to the path of Dharma, another person called Mahaparshva, he stood up and said, Ravana, the only way out is to use violence on Seetā. You take one of her hands off, cut her fingers. This is the only way that you can restore justice. This is what Mahaparshva gives us an advice. That is when Ravana says, I will not be able to approach Seetā and misbehave with her because I have a curse hanging on my head that was pronounced upon me by Bramhā when I tried to molest Punjikasthala. Adya prabhritiyamanyam balam narim gamishyasi tadate shatadha murdha bhalishyati na samshayaha. I fear that curse of Bramhā may fructify. So I don't want to use violence on Seetā. While this was being said, we need to understand the context in which I am standing here in Omkara Kala Kutira. This is a beautiful place of arts and architecture in the outskirts of Bengaluru. Constructed, the brainchild and the beautiful vision of G.K. Anantarama Iyengar. So in the background you see two beautiful portraits. One of Krishna able to vanquish Kamsa in Dwapara Yugam during the times of Bhagavatam and Mahabharatam. Krishna was able to vanquish his own uncle called as Kamsa because he had imprisoned his parents Devaki and Vasudeva. That Lord had said in Gita, Sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever there is some damage meted out to Dharma, Arjuna, I shall be born. And one of the prominent avatars mentioned of the Kali Yuga is when the Lord sits on a horse and comes as Kalki, restoring Dharmam. So we see one as Gita Acharya, Lord Sri Krishna, who has said that I will do Dharma Samsthapanam. He is the one who has said, I shall be born again, Sambhavami Yuge Yuge, as Kalki. Why these two avatars? These two avatars prominently talk about Dharma Samsthapanam. And Dharma Samsthapanam not just happened then. Even in Rama Avataram, there is Dharma Samsthapanam. So Rama Avatara is the precursor to both these avatars about Dharma Samsthapanam. Vibhishana, the devout person, the Dharma Atma, tries advising. While he advises is when Vibhishana stands and says, and that is when Ravana says, Ityuktva parusham vakyam Ravanam Ravananujaha Ajagama muhurtena Yatra Ramassa Lakshmanaha. He decided to go to the presence of Rama and Lakshmana. Then his advice found no brownie points in the assembly of Ravana. But remember, there is something that happened between what I have said and Vibhishana coming seeking refuge at the feet of Rama in Bharatadesha. What is that? And now we are going to enter one of the momentous parts, the most Vedantic section of Srimad Ramayanam called Vibhishana Sharanagati. More on this in the next episode.
Dear Astika reader, I am happy to be authoring a two-part book on the Ramayana in English. The first part is slated for release in the year 2024. The book aims to recreate and retell the Ramayana of Valmiki, conforming to the ancient commentaries and other allied literature. To receive notifications of the book release, kindly register with www.digitalbooks.com. deshikadaya.org/books. Namaskaram.